Hi there, class. Welcome to our class on Tuesday. And today's class is asynchronous, but I made a little video to sort of introduce the work for today and tomorrow, since tomorrow is also synchronous. Well, it is Tuesday, September 29th. And I just wanted to run through yesterday's work that was due last night at 11:59. If you didn't complete this, please do it as soon as possible. There was the Edpuzzle video about me, and you had to answer a question at the end of that. And that's an important assignment. I just want to make sure that you can use Edpuzzle because it is a platform that I like to use a lot. So let me know if you had any issues with that. The second thing was the Google form, the Get to Know You form for this class, and I have looked at those results, and I'm going to share a little bit with you in just a second. Third was to produce that Flipgrid Get to Know You video. So important, just because we're not in the classroom. It's really hard for me to gauge the class and to get to know you guys, and for you guys to get to know each other. And so we're going to work to do that the best we can, using all kinds of different technologies. But the Flipgrid is a great place to start. So in that video that I produced, my intro video, I actually made it for my freshman level Edge class. And so if you got confused at the end because I was talking about my English partner, Mr. Orr, that's why. And then there was an exit ticket yesterday too. Now I'm going to put all of these things in the grade book. And so you're going to start seeing grades popping up in your Infinite Campus. We'll talk more about transfer grades and things like that when we can be live on Thursday. I think there's 7 people who are also in my U.S. history class. Hopefully you saw the note that you only have to do the Edpuzzle and the Flipgrid once, but some things are different for the 2 classes. Well, one of the questions I asked you was if World Studies is a new class for you, and this is a big class with 38 students, and the best I can tell, more than half of you guys came in from a different class. So I asked, what class did you lose from your schedule and who was the teacher? And thanks for responding. I saw lots of different classes, a lot of people from sociology classes, psychology classes, but different classes all around. And so that's, I guess, what they had to do with the scheduling. And so I'm glad to have you here. And I think this is going to be a cool class. We'll talk more about it here in the video, but also when we start to meet live. Today's objectives are to complete the tasks from yesterday, if you haven't already. Deep Thoughts with Mr. Semple. And I want to introduce the Topic Interest Survey, which is going to be your work for the day. I also want to mention tomorrow's asynchronous lesson, Wednesday's lesson, because tomorrow is also independent asynchronous work. So today's tasks is, again, complete those things from yesterday if you haven't already. Watch this video. Boom, you're doing that. And then this topic interest survey. It's a Google form, and you can find it in the red Intro to Class folder. But let me set that up a little bit. So I found out about a week ago that I'd be teaching this class. And so I've got some thoughts about it that I want to share with you. And these thoughts come with a little asterisk. I think that's supposed to be a spinny GIF asterisk, but he's not spinning. And the asterisk means this may change. I've got ideas, but I haven't even met you guys yet. And I want to, it's not just about me, is it? So basically we have 10 weeks in this semester with this class. And for me, that means maybe 2-week cycles, 5 2-week cycles. And I want to talk about big topics. The discussion, world issues is the name of the class. The discussion may take the form of like a Socratic seminar or a scored discussion, fishbowl, a debate, or perhaps some other format. And since it's such a big class of 38 students, we'll probably break down into 2 or 3 groups to have these discussions. Maybe have one on Thursday and the other group on Friday, something like that. And what we want to do is research all angles of these topics. They're going to be complex topics with lots of opportunities to research different points of view and bring in lots of information and hopefully educate ourselves about some of the big issues that are going on in the world. That'll allow us also to divide up the research. And so we're not all researching the same stuff, and then share that research. There's going to be independent work. And I'm going to have you guys also jigsaw in small groups to share information before the lessons, before the discussions, are just some of the ideas I have. Now, the grade book stuff, participation in process is going to be scored. And of course, I want to continue on with the research and source analysis practice that we've been doing all 4 years, right, of social studies and English using the OPVL style. That's why I was asking about it in the survey. And then I imagine reaction papers after each discussion as a major part of the grade. And then you might have noticed I was also asking about documentaries and video production, something I'm thinking about and I want to include in the class. So there's our big asterisk. These ideas are subject to change, but these are my initial thoughts. So as I thought about world issues, I came up with things that I think are interesting, that are some of the biggest issues in the world, but also, and so I'm going to survey you guys to see which ones you think are the most interesting. And but also there's a question there, if there's another topic that you find interesting, I can put that forward. And so we won't be able to talk about all of these topics in class, although there will probably be opportunities for you to do some independent research on these. And so I want to run through these, and then your work for today is simply to take a Google Forms survey in which you show your interest level in each one of these topics. So maybe, and it's in the survey, the questions are in this order. So you might want to like jot down like, oh, that sounds interesting, or that doesn't sound interesting, as I mentioned them here. Of course, I think climate change is one of the biggest topics in the world today, and there's a lot of angles to study about that. Plastic waste is an issue that I've been very passionate about lately. Just when I think about how much plastic I use and trying to minimize that. And I got a good documentary that you're going to watch tomorrow about that. COVID-19, of course, you can't not talk about that. I mean, I guess we could not talk about it, but of course, it's one of the biggest issues in the world today. How it's changing life around the world, and things about what should we do about the vaccine when it comes out, and there's a lot of things to talk about there. And then I pulled a couple of American issues here too, just because I think they're kind of big ones, and there's been a lot of talk about the Electoral College lately. The state of Colorado has a question on the ballot about should we get rid of the Electoral College, and of course that's not really for the state of Colorado to decide. But if we pass that, it would send the message to Washington that is something that perhaps Colorado and maybe other states want to change. So that might be an interesting topic. And then, of course, there's the U.S. election coming up. Mostly it's about the president, of course, but there's everything's in play right now because the Senate could change, the House could change, and the Supreme Court is on the line too with this. So lots to talk about there. Overpopulation, more of a world issue, and some of the causes and possible solutions to that. Social media, how does it impact our life? How has it changed society? I think it's an interesting question that we could explore. What future technologies are going to be the most influential is another one. Genetic engineering is a fascinating kind of scientific topic that's being used right now to change everything from from animals to foods, but not so much people yet, although we have the ability to do that. Race in America, again, maybe more of an American topic and not as much of a world issues topic, but a big issue nonetheless. With Black Lives Matter movement, we're sort of resurging this summer. The rise of the strongman, about politics, not just here in the United States, but around the world, sort of more authoritarian leaders coming into power. and the issue of nuclear proliferation with countries like North Korea and Iran. What do you do about countries like that? So these are some of the topics I thought of, and you might come up with some more, and you can drop those into the survey. I did want to mention, however, that one of my thoughts for this class is that as we look at these, one of the things I want to focus on is positive stuff, because I know, when I asked the question in the Flipgrid about how often do you watch the news, a lot of people say things like, well, I don't watch the news because it's so depressing, or I feel makes me feel helpless. I really want this class to focus on some of the positive things that are happening on these. And so I don't want you to look at this list and be like, oh man, it's just a bunch of downers. There's positive things happening, I think, in all of these, and interesting things to talk about. So that's kind of my angle on this. I mentioned documentaries in the survey too. Tomorrow's independent work is a documentary that I've put into Edpuzzle. It's called Reimagining Plastic, and it's about 25 minutes long, and I put a bunch of questions in there. And I'll probably unlock it this afternoon if you want to check it out before Wednesday. And I put questions in there that are designed to just get you thinking and to create interaction around the topic, and not necessarily like, this is the right answer. And I'm just going to check to see that you watched the video, and I'm going to look at your answers, of course, but I'm not really grading the answers. And that's got to be completed by 1 o'clock on Wednesday to be counted present on Wednesday. Okay, well, that's it. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you guys. Tomorrow. Check the site again tomorrow for the link, or even later this afternoon for the link to tomorrow's work. And I'll also have a slide that goes over tomorrow's work. So check that out, and then we'll see you live on Thursday. Thanks.